I've heard you say that this spiritualized personality, sometimes the last thing that has to go, that has to be surrendered in an awakening process. Could you say a little more about that? About how we become so identified with our spiritual experiences and our new spiritual conceptions that have replaced our old materialistic ones,
right?
And how it inhibits us?
Sure. Anything we hold on to limits us. Everything is an expression of emptiness. Everything is an expression of emptiness. Absolutely everything. So no matter how profound the insight, how profound the awakening, how enlightening the enlightenment, how free the freedom is, how unconditionally loving the love is, if we hold on to it, we're actually confining ourselves, limiting ourselves. And there's the sense, there's the truth has nowhere to abide, has nowhere to hold on to, and it has no interest in holding on. It has no interest in abiding. It has no interest in holding on to that which the mind would call spiritual. It has no interest in holding on to an insight or the most profound revelation in one's whole life. It just seeks to experience it and move on, and abide nowhere and cling to nothing. And so that it is totally and absolutely available to each and everything, because it's all a gift. And there's nowhere to abide, there's nowhere to hold on to, there's nowhere to stand, nothing to avoid. And when there's any bit of separation left, and even individual self left, that self will be a movement and an expression of fear, even if only very subtly. So it'll want to hold on to its experiences, its revelations, its insights, its understandings, its amazing revelations. And in doing so, we miss a truth that's so much greater, that's so much bigger, that it can't be defined as anything spiritual. It's so much bigger than the spiritual. I like to say to people, the ultimate freedom is when you're free of being free, when you're enlightened from being enlightened, when you see your enlightenment is just another dream, that your own sense of freedom as totally unnecessary. There's a freedom that's bigger than freedom. There's an enlightenment that's bigger, and in a certain sense has nothing to do with enlightenment. There's a freedom that has nothing to do with freedom. It's the absence of freedom as well as the absence of bondage. Do you know? The deepest enlightenment is the absence of enlightenment and the absence of unenlightenment. The eternal that knows that these are just forms of expression.
How do we reach a point that we can let go to that level?
If I could answer that, then I could write it in a book and everyone could read it, and I could just, sit around and garden all day.
So it just happens if it happens?
Not really. I mean, yes, it happens if it happens, and it's grace. All that's true. And I think it's really connecting. I mean, like when I speak this way, I'm not speaking to be agreed with or not agreed with. From my point of view, it's simply the truth, and it's the truth that everybody inherently knows. They might not even know that they know it. They probably don't. And they might not even want to know that they know it, because it's too unimaginable for the mind. Not unimaginable in the sense of being grand or holy or anything like that, but unimaginable simply in the sense of being unimaginable. And I find that when I speak to people, they something in them knows what I'm speaking about, because I don't have proprietary ownership of truth. Everybody is the truth. Nobody owns it. Nobody has more or less of it. I find that when it's talked about clearly and honestly and with unadorned, unspiritualized, just as it is, that the people who are ready for it in their own way, they sense it. They know it's true, not because I say it, because they sense it in themselves. And it's that knowing that it's true, even if they don't understand it. It's the knowing of it that draws them towards it, and draws them into the deepest letting go and the deepest surrender, into a mystery. And it's just, they just do it, or they don't.
It's back to that receptivity we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
The receptivity of the awakeness itself to the awakeness in you.
Yes, it's really being totally receptive, It's being receptive to themselves. Very, very, very deeply, very profoundly. It's actually just dying into receptivity. Not into an object that gets received, but just dying into the receptivity itself. That's ultimately it. And everything else that happens and unfolds and gets revealed, it's all beautiful and it's all good and it's all profound and it's all useful, and in the face of just dying into receptivity in the ultimate sense, it's all irrelevant if held on to. It's only relevant in the moment. You have an amazing insight. You understand the nature of the universe. It's only relevant to that instant. At the next instant, something else is going to be relevant. And if you're holding on to the insight of understanding it all yesterday or an hour ago, you're not going to see what's relevant this instant. Do you know what I mean? So it's a truth that's fresh, that's alive, that's like a fire, crackling and popping and renewing itself and reinventing itself and displaying itself new, moment to moment to moment to moment to moment to moment to moment.